Captain Marcus. Chun had seen his fair share of the galaxy's wonders and terrors during his 15 years as a freelance cargo hauler, but nothing had prepared him for the sight of his beloved ship, the Wandering Star, split open like a meadow flower after the asteroid impact. Emergency lights flickered weakly in the thin atmosphere of the mining station where he'd managed to crash land, and the acrid smell of burned electronics filled his nostrils. "Well, old girl," he muttered, running his hand along a twisted bulkhead. "Looks like this is where we part ways." The repair estimate from the station's chief engineer had been devastating, more credits than Marcus had earned in 3 years. The Wandering Star had been his home, his livelihood, and his only family since he left Earth's overcrowded colonies. Now she was little more than expensive scrap metal. He was contemplating his limited options when a small figure appeared in the breach of his ship's hull. At first glance, Marcus thought it might be a child from one of the station's families, but as the figure stepped into the light, he realized his mistake. The being before him stood barely 4 feet tall, with luminescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Large, violet eyes dominated a delicate face framed by what looked like crystalline hair that chimed softly with each movement. "Your vessel," the alien said in accented but clear standard. "She has beautiful bones." Marcus blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" The small alien female, he realized from her voice, stepped carefully over a piece of debris and placed her 6-fingered hand on the ship's main structural beam. Strong framework. Good proportions. She was built by someone who understood harmony between form and function. Those violet eyes turned to him. "You are her keeper?" "Captain Marcus Chun," he said, extending his hand automatically. "And you are?" "I am called Zara of the Vethani." She studied his offered hand curiously before grasping it with her own. Her skin was warm and had an unusual texture, like smooth stone. "I am ... how do you say engineer of vessels?" Marcus glanced around at his destroyed ship. "Well, Zara, I'm afraid there's not much left to engineer here." To his surprise, she laughed a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Your species sees only destruction where there is opportunity for rebirth." She released his hand and moved deeper into the ship, her strange hair casting prismatic light patterns on the twisted metal. "This damage, it is mostly superficial. Your core systems, they are intact." The station engineer said. "The station engineer," Zara interrupted gently, "sees with eyes trained for simple repairs and standard replacements. I see with eyes trained for creation." She turned back to him, and Marcus was struck by the intensity of her gaze. "If you permit, I would like to rebuild your ship." Marcus felt a bitter laugh escape his throat. "I appreciate the offer, but I can't afford. I ask for no payment in credits." The words hung in the recycled air between them. Marcus studied the small alien's face, looking for some hint of deception or hidden motive. In his experience, nothing in the galaxy came free. Then, "What do you want?" he asked carefully. Zara's crystalline hair chimed as she tilted her head. "My people, we are ... how to explain ... We bond with vessels. We pour our essence, our knowledge, our very souls into the machines we create. But once bonded, we cannot bear to be separated from our work." She gestured at the Wandering Star. "If I rebuild your ship, she will become part of me, and I part of her. I would need to travel with you, to care for her, to ... belong." Marcus stared at her. "You want to come with me?" "Forever? Your word, forever, is too small," Zara said simply. "Among my people, when we bond with a vessel, it is for the lifetime of both the ship and the engineer. We become one being, in a sense." The implications of her offer began to sink in. Marcus had been alone for so long that the idea of permanent companionship was both terrifying and oddly appealing. But there had to be a catch. "Why?" he asked. "Why my ship? Why me?" Zara moved to what had been the navigation console, now a twisted MASS of metal and melted components. She placed both hands on it, And to Marcus's amazement, her skin began to glow brighter. I have been searching for 3 cycles of your years for the right vessel, the right keeper. Most ships in this sector are purely functional, no soul, no character. But your wandering star. She smiled, and the expression transformed her alien features into something almost human. She has been loved. I can feel it in her structure, in the way her components have been maintained, in the small modifications you have made. You treat her not as property, but as a living being. Marcus felt his throat tighten. It was true. He had always talked to his ship, had spent countless hours fine-tuning her systems, not just for efficiency, but for personality. And if I say yes, he asked, then I will rebuild her better than she was. Faster, stronger, more efficient. I will integrate VFNE biotech with your human engineering. She will become something new, a hybrid that combines the best of both our people's achievements. Marcus looked around at his destroyed ship, then back at the small alien, who was offering him a miracle. In her violet eyes, he saw something he recognized, the same loneliness that had driven him to the outer rim, the same need for belonging that made him talk to his ship in the long, empty hours between stars. There's one condition, he said. Finally, Zara's crystalline hair stilled. Speak it. If we're going to be traveling together for for a lifetime, I'd like to know something about you besides your name and your species. What do you eat? What do you do for fun? What makes you laugh besides humans being pessimistic about ship repairs? The wind chime laugh came again, and this time Marcus found himself smiling in response. I consume energy directly, stellar radiation, electrical current, even emotional resonance from biological beings, Zara said. For what you call fun, I compose harmonic frequencies and study the mathematical relationships between stellar phenomena. And I laugh when I encounter beings who show kindness to their machines. She stepped closer, and Marcus caught a scent like ozone and flowers. Do these things trouble you? Marcus thought about it. He'd eaten alone for 15 years, had never had anyone to share the beauty of a nebula or the satisfaction of a perfect hyperspace jump. The idea of companionship, even alien companionship, was suddenly more appealing than frightening. No, he said, extending his hand again. I think they make you more interesting. Partners? Zara's 6-fingered hand clasped his. Partners, Captain Marcus Jun. Now, shall we begin bringing your ship back to life? As she led him deeper into the wandering star's wounded hull, Marcus felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Hope. Not just for his ship, but for the future that stretched ahead of them among the stars. Behind them, the first sparks of Zara's biotech integration began to illuminate the darkness, and the wandering star started her journey toward rebirth.